Hi everyone, my name is Braylon and I wanted to sit down with you today to talk to you a bit about Jupiter retrograde. So I have my little planet here, Jupiter. This is going to be helping us really tap into these energies and the different meanings to what this may be having an effect on our lives like. What is this going to do? What is the Jupiter retrograde? What can we, look forward to? What will be some of the challenges? All of that kind of stuff, okay? So I have Jupiter here with us. I love holding this little planet. Jupiter is our largest planet. So I have all the little planets minus Pluto, of course. And Jupiter is a really, really decent size. Like these planets do a really good job at showing the different sizes. I have little itty bitty Mercury and little medium Venus, and Jupiter is definitely a holdable planet. He is large and in charge. So I just wanted to sit down today, guys, and kind of give my interpretation of, what I think this transit is going to bring to our lives. I thought it was very interesting that Jupiter is going retrograde. He went retrograde on March 8th, but it was pretty late March 8th. I believe it was like around 8 p.m. California time. And I live in Michigan, so for Michigan, I believe it was around 11 or so. I'm not sure, but I know that Jupiter went retrograde yesterday, and he is retrograde right now. So, I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys. I have a few notes here just, to keep myself guided. And I also have a few things that I just like to channel and things that I would just like to incorporate in my reading. So, Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter is our largest planet, you guys, in our solar system. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius and the co-ruler of Pisces. Let's see here. Jupiter is known as the king of the gods, and Jupiter rules our higher mind, you guys. So when I think of Jupiter, I definitely think more Sagittarius. I think most Pisces are very Neptunian. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and very anciently, they call Jupiter the ancient ruler of Pisces. So long ago, Jupiter was considered the ruler of Pisces as well, the co-ruler. So what do Pisces and Sagittarius have in common? Well, they square each other on the zodiac wheel back here. Pisces and Sagittarius make this kind of 90-degree angle, I believe, but they square each other. So that's an interesting aspect there. And the one thing that Jupiter and that Pisces and Sagittarius have in common is our belief in things, right? The only difference really is that, of course, Sagittarius is a fire sign, Pisces is a water sign. But Sagittarius, they're all about the expansion of sight. That's why I think more Sagittarius when I think Jupiter, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Sagittarius is the ninth house of philosophy, so it's all about taking this kind of philosophical approach to life, towards our beliefs, towards what we can gain higher knowledge towards, right? And then, of course, a lot of astrologers mention how Jupiter is the planet of luck and Jupiter is the planet of good fortune. And just personally, I believe that Jupiter is associated with luck and good fortune because this is an optimistic planet. This is a planet that has a relatively good energy, just like Sagittarius. Sagittarius is always energetic. They're always kind of this energetically hopeful kind of individuals, right? So Jupiter kind of takes on that same energy. It has a very positive vibe to it. So it's all about, our faiths and our beliefs. Now, this planet has gone retrograde. So some of you may not know what retrograde means. Now, when I first started studying astrology, one of the first planets that I realized went retrograde was, of course, Mercury, which we have going retrograde in a couple weeks on the 22nd. So Mercury is one of those planets that go retrograde most. It goes retrograde at 4 times a year or something like that. And then we have Jupiter, and I just read this last night while I was studying about this. Jupiter goes retrograde every 3 years, I want to say, or no, not 3 years. It was like 13 months or 19 months, something like that. So I'm like, wow, Jupiter goes retrograde like not too often, but the whole act, guys, of this retrograde, the very word retro means to move backwards, right? Have you ever heard someone say we have to look at this in retrospection or look at this in retrospect? Well, what that means is that you want to look at this a series of past events. So when a planet moves retrograde, what it essentially is doing is it's planets have their own natural orbits, and they orbit and they orbit and they orbit, but sometimes a planet begins to slow down until it's actually at a halt. And when this planet halts, well, to the human eye, it seems as if this planet is moving backwards, right? And astrologers have that debatable. They say that Mercury doesn't really move backwards, it just appears to be moving backwards. But the energy that the planet is giving off is a very retro, past movement, slowing down. Let's take a minute here. So Jupiter is essentially slowing down in the sky, and it is coming to a halt. Instead of it moving forward and going on its natural course of action, it's slowing down. And I'm looking at this as in an energetic way. Like, wow, I feel like it's so interesting that these planets kind of slow down, and kind of stop moving. And you got to think why that is. And when this happens in astrology, at least for me, I like to think about what that planet means and what that planet is doing in the sky, where that planet is in our chart, right? Where that planet is doing this certain thing at in our life, because then we could have a better understanding as of how this is going to affect us. So just in general here in the intro video, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jupiter and what I think Jupiter means and what I think it means for Jupiter to be going retrograde. And then I wanted to talk to you guys individually, each of the 12 signs, real quickly. Just, I'm hoping that it can be about 10 minutes of conversation, so that all together these can be about 30 minutes or so. Yeah, I just wanted to take a look at collectively where this energy is going to be happening. Now, Jupiter is going retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. So, of course, all the Scorpios watching, that means that Jupiter is going retrograde in your first house of self. So Scorpios are kind of experiencing this firsthand. And then we have Sagittarius that's experiencing this in their 12th house, and then we have Pisces who's experiencing this in their 9th house. So all these different energies are going to play out in different unique ways for all of us. But this is significant, guys. Very, very significant for this to be happening. It's interesting to me that the planets have all been direct for about 3 months. A lot of the astrologers that I watch have been talking about that, how they really don't have any knowledge or memory of the planets being direct for this long of a time. So we had a good chunk of time for all these energies to be forward moving, and I do hope that all of us took advantage of that. I hope that we, took those energies and used those influences to really drive us and to move us forward, because now we have some planets kind of moving backwards, and this does affect our lives, guys. So Jupiter is the first retrograde of 2018, making it very interesting. It's like all this light is being shed on Jupiter until Mercury joins the retrograde energy on the 22nd. Now, Jupiter is more of a higher octave. It's interesting that Gemini is opposite of Sagittarius, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So Gemini and Sagittarius are opposites because we have this whole third house and this 9th house energy. Now, the third house is the lower mind, right? We think of communication. So Mercury rules the lower mind, kind of. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So I just thought it was interesting that no matter what way you look at it, Mercury is opposite this very, this belief energy, right? Virgo is opposite Pisces, which is the co-ruler of Sagittarius, of Jupiter. So Gemini is opposite of Jupiter, Virgo is opposite of Jupiter. So whatever way you look at it, Mercury is kind of the opposite shadow energy of Jupiter. And I think that's because Mercury controls more of the thoughts and communication, kind of the lower mind, the mind that we're used to operating at, but then there's an ascension that happens, right? That's a very Jupiter word, ascension. Because to ascend is to essentially expand, right? And Jupiter is all about that. So when you gain higher knowledge, when Mercury kind of takes steroids, it becomes this Jupiterian figure. And Jupiter is all about, philosophy. It's all about getting to the deeper meaning of things. It's all about our beliefs. Now, our beliefs, that's a different area of our chart, right? It's the 9th house. Jupiter rules the 9th house of our beliefs, of higher education, wisdom, all of these words that mean to simply expand your knowledge, right? Jupiter is all about the higher mind. Mercury is the lower mind. Jupiter is the higher mind. So at the end of this month, you guys, we're going to have our higher mind and our lower mind together, not in the same house or anything, but they're going to be retrograding back into the past. Now, one of the things that I was led to write down when I was kind of taking notes and getting into this kind of Jupiter feel is Back to the Future. Now, I have not watched Back to the Future as thoroughly as I should, but I'm actually planning on doing so. I think all of us should kind of, even those of you who are kind of from the older generation who really know Back to the Future, and if I did, I would probably incorporate that a lot here in this kind of video, but I know enough about Back to the Future, and just saying that kind of is interesting, like Back to the Future, like that's kind of moving forward and backwards at the same time, going back to the future. So I don't know why I was led to say that or led to write that down here, but I think this Jupiter retrograde is going to have a lot to do with going back to the future. So very, very oxymoron there, guys, and it just shows you how expansive Jupiter really is. Jupiter is this planet. Anything that Jupiter touches, it expands, right? It expands it. So Jupiter going retrograde is kind of, I feel that it is expanding our past in different areas of our life. This is Jupiter's way of kind of saying, okay, guys, so Saturn and Sagittarius since 2000, Saturn was in Sagittarius, I do believe, from 2014 to 2018, I believe. But for the last 3 years or so, guys, we had Saturn in Sagittarius, and this energy is kind of being brought back up because Saturn left Scorpio in 2000. Well, it was in Scorpio 2012, and then it entered Sagittarius. So that energy, I believe, is being brought back up here because I believe during the last 3 years of our life, we had a lot of karmic beliefs form. We had a lot of karmic knowledge. We gained a lot of karmic wisdom. And what I mean by that is that it was just simply on our karmic path to learn these things. I believe that Saturn in Sagittarius definitely aligned us with some of the beliefs that we were actually karmically meant to align with, right? So here comes Jupiter, the ruling planet of all this energy. And I believe that when Jupiter slows down like this, that it's really a test on our faith. Okay, we didn't realize that, right? As humans, we just so effortlessly, well, it's not always effortlessly, but if you think about what it is that you believe, right? What it is that you really believe. Now, what does it even mean to believe in something? Well, to me, when I was kind of reflecting on this energy, it means to have faith in something. It means to, and Jupiter is the planet of sight. Sagittarius is the house of sight. Seeing is believing, right? But then Pisces is ruled by Jupiter because that's the energy. When you get to the 12th house, it's not about seeing. It's not about seeing, it's feeling. So I think beliefs kind of mix those two energies together. Sag and Pisces, science and spirituality. All of these things are kind of being touched on here with this Jupiter retrograde because Jupiter wants to know why we believe in the things that we believe in and if these are authentic beliefs. And it's good. It's good for our belief systems to be checked like this because, like I said, for some of us, it's so effortless. Some of our beliefs have been taught to us. Some of our beliefs have been forced on us. Some of our beliefs, and a good example of this, guys, is that some of us are actually walking around with the belief that we are less than what we are. With the belief, sometimes there's false beliefs, right? So a false belief is another thing that comes up here. It's time for us to look at these energies in retrospection. Why do I believe what I believe? What has caused me to believe these things? So our foundation, the foundation of our beliefs are being refined. They're being looked at in a greater way. Jupiter is kind of disappearing a little bit, guys. I kind of felt the need to say when I woke up today, where's Jupiter? And what I was going to say to you guys is that we so effortlessly, we go through lives and we're like these human sponges. We learn, just like a philosopher. Just like Jupiter, where life is an adventure that we're studying. It's a science project. This is kind of an experiment, you know what I mean? And so during those experiments, when you're writing these notes and you mix this with this and, oh, you had an explosion, let me write that down. Well, your beliefs are kind of shaped and formed around these ideas, around these, the evidence that you have, right? And so it really brings the question to me, should evidence and beliefs go in the same department? Now, when you're talking about the ninth house, yes, sure. When you're speaking in a scientific term, scientists are all about proving things. But here's the thing. When you really, truly believe in something, do you need proof? So I have a post that every time the planets do something major, like Mercury retrogrades, new moons, full moons, and of course Jupiter retrograde, I had to post, a little bit. I like to keep my friends and peers, like online peers, updated. My social media is used for mainly astrology and enlightenment and positive reinforcement, things like that. I like to use that as a platform, to kind of spread positive energy and stuff like that. So, on my post on Instagram and on my post on Facebook, I was talking about Jupiter, I usually just channel these things. I usually just pick up my phone and I'm typing out whatever messages come to me. I kind of channel it. I do a little bit of studying here and there. And it's interesting that I say that because Jupiter involves both of those things. Beliefs involve both of those things. A little bit of studying, a little bit of experimenting, but then sometimes it's just a feeling that you have. Hello, Pisces. Hello, Sag. Pisces and Sagittarius together, man, is there magic that happens when they come together, because you have literally Jupiter together. You have Pisces, you have the ninth house and the 12th house. Between when you travel around the zodiac wheel from Sagittarius season to Pisces season, you are, little do you know, you are developing a strong belief in something, in yourself, in your foundation, in your emotion, in your lifestyle, wherever this energy is hitting for you. I believe what takes place between the ninth house and the 12th house is a very obscene amount of faith and belief. You move from seeing and sight to feeling and emotion. So it's just really, really interesting to talk about all this. And another thing is that, back to what I was saying about the poster, whatever, a lot of questions came up. Like, one of the questions I put was, why is it that we need to see where we're going before leaving? You ever think about that? Why is it that we need to see? And then it reminds me of that Martin Luther King quote. Belief, well, I think he said having faith is taking that first step without seeing the rest of the staircase. So if you really want to just use that as a metaphor, like, think of yourself, and this is another thing. I've always used that analogy myself too. He was a Capricorn, Martin Luther King. So, which means Sagittarius, it was his 12th house. Interesting. When I think about beliefs, when I think about having faith in something, I always picture this ladder in my head. I picture this old wooden ladder that's been out in somebody's shed for a long time. And, one day they just, they need a ladder for something. So they're like, I got a ladder out back, And they see this, they come face to face with this ladder. And, their belief in it, their trust in it, is a little bit shaky. So what do? It's kind of like jumping into water, right? You don't trust that you're afraid, right? So essentially belief is the opposite of fear. Belief is having hope and trust and faith in something, right? So when you break these energies down, it's like, I believe in you. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's like, I have faith in you. That's what it means. When you hear that, or when someone says, I believe in you, or when they say, I don't believe that, I don't believe that to be true. Well, it means that you don't think it's true. You don't have faith that that's true. So I think beliefs and faith go hand in hand, and I think the opposite of belief is doubt. I think the opposite of belief is fear. Fears and doubts, they go right together. What we fear is what we doubt. Sometimes we doubt that we fear things. Sometimes we doubt we're fearing things because we have doubts in them, okay? So this is what's coming up, guys. This is what this Jupiter retrograde is all about, I think. I believe, when the planet is moving forward, what they symbolize is what they symbolize: expansion, higher knowledge, philosophy, the higher mind, wisdom, education, educating yourself, luck, good fortune, whatever. So when we take that meaning and move it backwards, I don't want to say that it means the opposite, because I kind of think about tarot when and I don't do reversal cards often, but let's use the Hanged Man, right? And that's an awful one to use because he's already upside down, but the Hanged Man up right side up means enlightenment. It means looking at something from a different point of view. All right, I should have used like a more extreme card, right? But that one just came to mind for some reason. And I think that's a Neptune card. But if you turn that meaning around, it means maybe not looking at something from a different way. Maybe the extreme need to look at something from a different way. Maybe it means that you're no longer suspended on an idea. So anyway, my point is that when I sit and think about these energies, just as my own I'm kind of a novice astrologer, right? And not really. Like, I love astrology. I've been studying it for a year now. but there's more to learn. And I go off of what I feel. I like to channel things. That's where I get all my information. Of course I study a little bit, but sometimes I just have this higher knowledge. I have Jupiter in Sagittarius, so that's in my 12th house. So I'm all about belief. I'm all about learning more. And Jupiter, I did read that Jupiter is how we're going to be of service, how we want to help other people, because it's the expansion planet. So wherever Jupiter is in your chart, it's essentially expanding. So for me, no wonder I'm doing this channel and doing tarot cards, because my 12th house and my 11th house are expanded, right? So spiritual friends are especially good for me, and I hope that that's what expands in my life. But go backing up a little bit. Speaking of backing up, thank you, universe. I kind of forgot my thought there, but we were literally talking about backing up. So, and we were talking about the reverse tarot cards and stuff like that. So to me, I think of what Jupiter means moving forward. Jupiter is a very expansive, higher knowledge type of thing. So when we say Jupiter is slowing down in the sky and Jupiter is moving backwards, well, I don't think it means the opposite of what Jupiter traditionally means. So it doesn't mean bad luck. A lot of people think, oh, well, Jupiter means good luck and good fortune. So, oh no, Jupiter's going retrograde. We're going to have bad luck. We're not going to have any good fortune. I don't believe that. I believe that that could be true for those who manifest that for themselves. But I'm really feeling strange. I don't think Jupiter's that simple. Sure, it may mean that we have to try harder. It may mean that you won't find 20 bucks on the ground tomorrow. It may mean that you have to do something to align yourself. So I think luck is going to be, it's almost like Jupiter. I don't mean to, Jupiter, I hope you're okay with this, but I kind of just seen a fairy in my head. A little fairy godmother that's all, and it's so interesting. I have a little crown right here that I'm looking at as I say that. So Jupiter is like this fairy godmother of luck, right? It's magic. Jupiter is magic. Jupiter is the sight. It's all like this. It's very wise planet, okay? Very, very wise planet. And for Jupiter to be moving retrograde, it means that his influence is not as strong. And it's not because Jupiter is weaker or anything. It means that the influence needs to be taken back a few steps. I think that Jupiter has been straightforward and online for so long, and we had that long period of Sagittarius having Saturn in their sign, so everything was karmic, and our luck and all of that, our good fortune was very karmically bound. So I don't think that Saturn was too comfortable within a Jupiter ruled house, because Saturn and Jupiter are kind of opposite energies. Saturn restricts, Jupiter expands. So there was that harsh energy, but I think that those were essential years of learning, what we believe in. I think our beliefs were kind of tried and restricted, but expanded at the same time. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that as far as the challenges of this transit, I believe that this is an important time. Very, very important that we keep the faith. If you all of a sudden start doubting something during this is the next 4 months. Another thing I meant to mention is that this planet is retrograde until July 10th. So that's 4 long, long, long months of the planet of expansion, the planet of luck, the planet of higher knowledge, the planet of philosophy in our beliefs, definitely slowing down a bit. A little bit harder to access, right? But that's why you go within, because we all have our own natal Jupiters, right? Some of you may be born when Jupiter was in retrograde. And, I read that when Jupiter is in retrograde in a person's chart, they may have a difficult time expanding. So guys, it's just time that we put in our own work. Jupiter is always here to expand. And I think we take Jupiter for granted, our beliefs are something that's so personal to us, right? That's why it's in the 9th house so we're passionate about our beliefs, we're emotional about our beliefs. Gosh, have you ever tried to bring up some kind of religious conversation with somebody, and if you don't agree, it gets crazy, right? Some of our main wars have been fought over religion, and that is so weird to say that, because Mars is currently hanging out in Sagittarius with the moon right now, and golly, religion is just, I know that it serves a good purpose or whatever, but you want to evolve into this kind of spirituality, get on board, because religion is kind of man-made. It's just so interesting that the 9th house is both the house of science and beliefs, because those two things didn't really agree back in the day. When people used to, it was either the Big Bang Theory or God, or is it evolution or Christianity, and it's like, guys, it's both. It's everything. You're supposed to expand on everything. Why do you think Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by the same planet? Because we're supposed to expand equally. Science and spirituality go hand in hand. The astrology tells it all. Pisces and Sagittarius are ruled by the same planet because we are supposed to expand equally when it comes to science and spirituality. They go hand in hand. That's why I love astrology. Astrology is spiritual, astrology is scientific, astrology is factual. I mean, go outside and look at the stars. Like, they're there. The moon is here. The moon is full on the 31st. If you go outside on the 31st, guarantee the moon's going to be full in Libra. Like, science, I love mixing science and beliefs. Astrology is my calling, and I just appreciate it so much. And for this planet to be going retrograde, guys, I feel that we're going to have to put in a little bit more work. We're going to have to work a little bit harder. Things aren't just going to appear for us. We're not just going to, it's kind of necessary. It's a necessary slowing down because Jupiter wants to know who's going to stay optimistic for the next 4 months. In the next 4 months, are you going to be, do you really need help? Because listen, guys, when you truly believe in something, when you truly have faith in something, you don't need to see the end results. And that's the whole Jupiter scientific Jupiter belief. It's are you a scientist or do you believe in this? Do you need to mix these two beakers to know that they don't go well together? Are you just gonna, it's kind of it's a chance. Like, that's why Jupiter is the planet of good luck and fortune, because I just picture a scientist that literally didn't blow up in his lab because, because he was lucky and because he just has a lot of good fortune. So it's important for this planet of good fortune and luck to kind of slow down sometimes. The universe thought it was necessary for between March 8th and for July 10th for this planet to move retrograde. Our beliefs are slowing down. Our faith in things are going to be challenged. We are going to experience certain doubts, okay? But Jupiter wants to know who's going to expand these doubts. Are you going to expand beyond the doubts? Because doubts come up to show you, hey, what if it doesn't work out? You don't know. What if this step isn't real? Well, oh well, I have faith. And you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you, as a Pisces, my faith gets me places all the time. Like, it doesn't matter if I go against the physical. Like, listen, Virgo and Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, the reason why we're opposites is because, well, there has to be balance, first of all. But what I was going to say is that by nature, I go against reality because I am the opposite of Virgo. I'm the opposite of the sixth house. So as a Pisces, being co-ruled by Jupiter, being ruled by Neptune and Jupiter, it makes me a really, really weird person of belief. You ever see a Pisces believe in something? If a Pisces, you gotta be careful, because if you're a Pisces and you believe in something, it is going to happen. This is all about manifestation, you guys. How do you manifest something? Well, you believe in it. You see it happening before it happens. That's what a spiritual person will tell you. You want to align yourself with abundance? Well, then you need to behave like a person who already has abundance. It's like aligning yourself with something before it's there. That's the trick. That's the trick to the universe. How do you think we all came here? Is because something believed in it enough. Something saw it happening before it happened. And that gets me talking about visions, right? Jupiter can be the planet of vision. It's the planet of sight. It's the planet of foresight. When you talk about Pisces and Sagittarius together, it's the planet of seeing before. So you talk about deja vu, if you ever experienced deja vu, Jupiter is all that. It's about having the higher knowledge. Like, I feel that this is extremely strange territory to be talking about, but it makes sense to me. Do not doubt yourself. Do not doubt yourself. Jupiter will show you what it is that you shouldn't believe in any longer. So some of us, okay, Taurus, I'm going to use you as an example. Taurus is going through a Jupiter retrograde in their 7th house of relationships. Some of you Tauruses out there, you could have been keeping the belief in this relationship. You could have been keeping it. Oh, it's okay. I just believe we'll fix this. I just believe it. I just believe. I believe. But Jupiter goes retrograde, and some of you, not all of you, so don't freak out, Taurus. Okay, I know you guys are really loyal lovers. I have a Taurus moon, okay? But for some of you Tauruses out there, if you have had a false belief in a relationship, because sometimes we can create false beliefs. We are our own gods, right? We are made in the image of the Creator. We are in a universe. So universes create things all the time. Supernovas, dark matter, universes are infinite, right? So sometimes we expand beyond infinity. And when you expand beyond like I asked it on my Facebook post, I said, what happens when you expand beyond the expandable? Well, you are very wise and you come back knowing the unknowable. You come back, and that's exactly what it feels like talking to you guys, is that I'm explaining things that only make sense if you're able to expand. So if you guys are Mercury ruled, and I'm not saying that Mercury's closed-minded, but Mercury's more about facts. Facts and beliefs, they're different. They're kind of cousins. They kind of get along sometimes. But when a person truly believes in something, they don't need to know for sure, right? I heard that on a movie before. I heard that on some kind of movie quote or something. But that's also something that just came from me, is that when you believe in something, you don't need to read it. You don't need to see it or feel it. You just know. So as a Pisces, sometimes I literally can feel an energy around me. I'm like, I know there's an energy around me, or I know that person is going through this. And then you have people that gaslight you. So I want to mention there, be careful of gaslighting around this time. And if for those of you who don't know what gaslighting means, it's someone who's essentially manipulating you. They know what they're doing. They know that you're true. They know that you're telling the truth, and that they believe you. But they want to make you feel crazy just for the sheer fact of manipulation. Like, this is when someone knows that you're, like, you guys literally know it together. Happens in relationships a lot. Like, just like, it's like if I was talking about astrology to a person who literally believes in astrology too, but they just want to gaslight me. It's like they take your energy. No, astrology ain't real, man. Even though they read their horoscope every night, they're like, man, whatever, that shit ain't real. Yeah, okay, you're gaslighting me. Like, gaslighting is something that happens to our beliefs. And I feel that it's interesting that this is coming up, because I believe that we should be very careful of gaslighting over this time, because our planet that symbolizes our higher knowledge, well, it's going to be harder to reach, you guys. That's what Jupiter retrograde means. It's going to be a little bit harder to reach. And, that brings up the ultimate test of who is really going to be about it, who's going to still be doing this, So I'm going to talk to you guys all about the different areas. I'm going to go through all the 12 signs in the videos and talk about the areas that this is happening individually for you, for Aries, for Taurus, for Gemini, for Cancer, and So this is happening in opposites for all of us, and I'm going to just talk a little bit about the houses that this is happening in. Right? For Aries, this is happening in their 8th house. For Taurus, this is happening in their 7th house. Gemini, their 6th house. So those energies mean different things, and we can kind of hone in and talk about this a little bit more. So that'll be a little bit more clear to you guys, because this is a time where our sight can be a bit blurred. Now, it's so interesting that this happened in Pisces season, where, our emotional beliefs are coming up, where completions are happening. I'm telling you, this happened for a reason, for Jupiter to go retrograde in Pisces season. Our faith is going to be tested and tried, okay? Jupiter is moving backwards and slowing down, so that we have to put in more work when it comes to what we believe, okay? And it's important that we stay optimistic and energetically hopeful about this, because this is like a dissipating faith. Our faith is going to be a little bit, it's to test people. Do you believe in this because you have proof? Or then there's the real ones that believe because they feel it. They believe because, see, there's two different kinds of belief. Some of us believe things because it's what we've been shown and taught our whole life. Some of us believe things because it's what we've saw. It's because it's what we, but I'm saying there's other things that you believe in your heart and soul that you really have no knowledge. And that's interesting that Jupiter is the planet of beliefs and higher knowledge. Those two things are that's a dangerous combination, because unless you look at it in a way like your knowledge comes from a higher source. Because, see, people don't understand that knowledge isn't factual. Knowledge is just what a person knows. We can bring knowledge with us from 7 lifetimes ago. And maybe in this lifetime, that knowledge isn't here. Maybe some of us are from different planets, and what we know is not factual here. But how does that mean that it's not factual in another area? Does it mean that it's not factual in another realm? Because in the dream realm, I can be at 7 places at once. But here, matter and gravity and shit doesn't work like that. So you want to be careful of what you think is facts, because facts leave no room for possibilities. So, when we step into this place of doubt, which I believe some of us are going to be challenged with, this place of doubt, this place of fear, now that Jupiter is a little bit invisible, now that Jupiter is harder to reach, farther away from us, moving backwards, you want to be careful when you're dealing with these doubts. You want to ask yourself why, because doubts are what we believe easiest in. Isn't that crazy? Our fears are what we believe the most. The negativity, you ever realize that we believe the negative things that people say about us? It's easier to believe the negative things that people say than it is to believe the positive things. And that's coming up now, guys, in this video, because Jupiter is literally bringing this all to the forefront. What are our doubts? What are our beliefs? What is the relationship between those two things, and why? Is there any kind of higher knowledge that we can gain from it? Is there a wiser approach that we can take, or something more that we can learn? Now, something I haven't mentioned yet, guys, well, I've mentioned it a little bit with the whole Back to the Future thing. It's going to be trippy. It's going to be trippy because this isn't like Mercury. Mercury goes backwards and it's literally a blast from the past. But since this is such an expansive planet, Jupiter is moving back into our past, not only to, go over, and this is it. Jupiter is going to cover areas over the last 4 or 5 years. Anything that you've, developed a belief in or developed faith in over the past 4 or 5 years, Jupiter is going to go back in time and show you it from a different angle. It's going to expand it for you. So that's why Jupiter is such a badass planet that even when it travels retrograde, it's expansive still. It's even more expansive, honestly. Its influence is even more expansive because it's almost like a parent that chills out, and lets this kid, I picture a baby walking and kind of falling down and that parent's right there to catch him, right? Oh, it's okay. How's that kid ever going to believe in itself? So Jupiter is kind of like our crutches, but you should never have a crutch when it comes to your belief. You should just be able to walk. You should just have faith. You should just try and keep faith, because faith will get you a long way, guys. And it's all about these doubts that we have, and these doubts are going to come up in different areas. We're going to cover that in the personal videos. So Jupiter's traveling back into the past, you guys. And that when our parent, we're walking on our own now. We're these 3-year-olds or however old we are when we start walking, and, we want to do it ourselves, and it's time to prove ourselves to the universe that we do believe in what we believe in, and that our beliefs are an expansion of us. They are an ascension of us. We are evolving and ascending. We are ascending, and our beliefs either help us grow or they diminish us. I know, and it's none of my business, but some people believe in certain things that, our beliefs are powerful over us. What we believe shapes us. What we believe is what we base our entire life off of. Why do you think this is the biggest planet of the solar system? It has a lot of influence over our lives. So you want to ask yourself, most importantly, if this confused you, ask yourself what it is you believe in and what got you there. Do you believe in it because it was taught to you? Do you believe in it because you want to pay attention to the answer? Why do I believe in this? Why do I have faith in this person, place, or thing? And the answer to that is going to be essentially what ascends you. You're going to be a lot wiser when you ask yourself these questions. Why is it that I need to see where I'm going? Doesn't that kind of, it makes the journey pointless, right? Sometimes you can't see what's up ahead and you just have to carry on and walk on your own and have faith in the journey, have faith in the universe, have faith in yourself, have faith in your own strength. These things are coming up, you guys, because Jupiter is slowing down. And, like I said, our faith and beliefs will be challenged by doubt and by fear. And you want to look out for gaslighting too. I believe that we are going backwards in time. Our higher minds are pausing and going backwards to expand on what we may have missed, We're going backwards to gain wisdom. And Jupiter is going in these certain areas because we need to grow. Some of these areas that we need growth in need more time. It's very important. These things are very important that we could have missed. Jupiter can be so expansive sometimes that we could expand beyond things that we could have learned a little bit more about. That's the only thing about, science and beliefs, is that we expand and we learn more and we learn more and we learn more, and more of the puzzle comes together. And there may have been something that we missed. So I love retrogrades and I embrace retrogrades because there's obviously something that the universe is trying to show us from the past, or it's not necessarily the past, it's just something that's not in front of us on the journey. There's Jupiter says that there is something behind us that we overlooked. There's something that we can learn from our past. There's something we can learn from what has already occurred, and it's time to look at that in a different way. It's time to look at that. We've grown a lot, over the past years. So it's time to take who we are now and who we are because of these beliefs and because of our faith, and look at this in a different way, because we're not the same people, so we're not going to be looking at it in the same perspective. Our perspective has been expanded. Our knowledge, we know more, we see more, we believe in different things. I bet our beliefs have changed. If you think about what you believed as a child, Santa, do you guys still believe in Santa Claus? Because, I'm sorry, Santa, but I have not gotten any presents, and I don't, holidays or whatever they are, but, that's just an example. Do you believe in the Tooth Fairy still? So it's so interesting that our belief is ruled by a mutable fire sign and a mutable water sign, because our feelings change a lot. The fact that Jupiter is ruled by mutable planets, it just goes to show you that our beliefs change out throughout life. Our philosophy, our higher knowledge, it has to be something that can change. Because think about it. Think of think of Jupiter was ruled, and that's interesting. Mercury is also ruled by mutable signs, Gemini and Virgo, because what we think often changes. And it's interesting to think about Mercury and Jupiter together, because our lower mind and our higher mind, our thoughts and our beliefs kind of mix together. They're friends a little bit. So our beliefs are essentially shaped by around what we think and what we believe, what we think and what we believe, what we believe we think, what we think we believe. Okay? Astrology, man, it's wild. And it makes sense if you just take a minute and just kind of look at these things, take some time to discuss these things, these different energies. It's interesting that Jupiter is ruled by a mutable energy. And that just goes to show you that what we believe changes and it mutates over time. And you want to be careful, because sometimes that's a negative thing. Sometimes others can impose our beliefs. Sometimes others impose their beliefs on us, right? You have those people that, and I don't disrespect any of these religions, but I don't feel a positive energy from anybody who tries to force a belief on you. Jupiter is not about forcing anything. It's about the natural expansion of things. You ever have a really deep, expansive conversation with somebody, and even if you believe in different things, you still learn? That's what Jupiter is about. Jupiter is so expansive that you can disagree. You can move backwards. You can go back to the past and look at something differently without the harsh feelings, without a war. We do have Mars and Sagittarius and stuff like that. But what we believe in, it shouldn't add aggression. It should happen naturally. Our beliefs, guys, if you're wondering, well, what do I believe? What is my faith? Some people find themselves troubled when they don't have a religion. When they don't believe in something, it's like, you believe in something. Some of you are agnostic. Some people believe in many different things. I believe in everything. I believe that if there's a human somewhere thinking it, that somewhere it exists. So I wouldn't worry too much about your beliefs changing, but more so them just evolving into something that is a more accurate depiction of your life now. It's important that what we believe in over time, there's 1-year-old us and 2-year-old us and 21-year-old us and 67-year-old us. And if we take those different points of our lives, what we believe in is different. It might stay the same, but it might change. A lot of us feel like what we believe in should stay the same forever, but no. What we believe in, the human experience is all about expansion. It's all about growing and expanding and ascending. We came here to ascend. We came here to experience growth and lessons and karma and energy. And guys, I just feel like this is a time for us to look at all that in just a little bit different of a way. And I promise you, come July, over the next few months, we're really going to be expanding in different areas of our lives, and it's for the better. It's because we needed a little bit more time. There's something in the past, something behind us that Jupiter is going to expand. Okay? And, this is happening all in our eighth house. So it may happen beneath the surface. It may happen a little bit secretive like. It may happen intimately, because Jupiter is in Scorpio. Jupiter is going to be in Scorpio until next year. So when Jupiter is in the eighth house, it expands in an intimate way. It expands at an emotional level. It expands at an intensity. This is really, really rocking awesome, you guys. It's pretty awesome. So this is what I think about Jupiter retrograde. I do hope that this information was kind of cool, and this is just what I think. This is just what my mind came up with today. There's always more to say, and I'm gonna save that for your individual videos. Those are gonna be like 10 minutes or so, guys, or maybe 15-20 minutes long, so that these videos can be about an hour long altogether. So that's what I have for you, and this is Jupiter, you guys. Jupiter's retrograde, and this is what I think it's gonna, these are the energies that I believe it. This is what I think, I guess. And we can expand a little bit further on that in your individual videos, where I can talk to the individual sign, a little bit more about the actual house that it's expanding. Now, as far as your natal charts, hit me up. We can talk about what Jupiter means in certain houses, but this is general. In general for Gemini, in general for Pisces, in general for Aries, all these different signs, okay? So, hey Jupiter, thanks for going retrograde, bud. Let's see what you got. Expand us. All right, guys, I will talk to you in the videos for your individual sign. See ya. Hello, Leo. Me and Jupiter are here today to talk to you a little bit about Jupiter retrograde in your 4th house. So I'm not sure if you watched my intro video or not, but Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's the biggest planet in our solar system. And I wanted to talk to you in this portion of the video a little bit more about the 4th house, because Scorpio is your 4th house, guys. So Jupiter has been hanging out in your area of emotional foundation. This is the house of home, right? Scorpio, Jupiter is in this house of home and family for you. This is where you find your roots, and I know Leos are very, very fun-loving people. They love their families. They love their roots. They love their parents. You guys are like cats. You guys are like lions of the jungle. So lions are very protecting of their pride, okay? They are very protecting of their family and their pack and stuff like that. So this has everything to do with your home, Leo. And Jupiter has been there expanding your family. A lot of you could be getting pregnant or getting people pregnant, or find yourself expanding your family. Leos usually have big families. You have friends that are considered families, people's best friends, parents that you call mom and dad. This is all about that, okay? This is about your emotional foundation, Leo. And Jupiter has been there expanding your emotional foundation, showing you a little bit more about how you can passionately connect emotionally with other people in your family, passionately connect with your roots. This is transforming your roots, your parents, your family, your home, all of that good stuff. Leo, this is about your emotional beliefs. Jupiter is in your 4th house, making this about your emotional beliefs and your beliefs towards emotion, your beliefs towards home, your beliefs towards your family. Sometimes families have a collective belief. You've just been taught a certain belief. It's been handed down and handed down and handed down, and you're going to hand it down to your children. So this is a lot about the beliefs in your family and your family beliefs and your beliefs about your foundation. This is about your emotional foundation. This is your beliefs towards your emotional foundation, okay? So when it comes to your family and your roots, so I was talking in my intro video about that. And, I have different opinions about that. I feel that it's kind of good and kind of bad when you have a family that believes in something. But, Jupiter is going retrograde to kind of refine our beliefs. Jupiter is going retrograde to kind of see who and what and where and how we're going to keep the belief and keep the faith into something when Jupiter is really not there to help us with it, right? Jupiter helps us with our beliefs. Jupiter helps us see and believe at the same time. But when Jupiter goes retrograde, it kind of shows us things from a different point of view. Jupiter is all about higher knowledge. Jupiter is all about, wisdom and learning, higher education. It's about expansion. So we are expanding in a different way now. It's kind of like back to the future, right? We're traveling backwards to learn more about these different areas of life. So Leo, you're being asked to travel a little bit backwards to learn more about your home. What do you believe about where you live and about where your roots are, where you came from, where your foundation is, and what do you feel about that? You know, this is all about emotion for Leo, and you guys are very passionate. You guys are the North Node, so it's very interesting, excuse me, for you guys to be going through this kind of transit. So Jupiter wants to know what it is about Leo's beliefs that stemmed from the home environment. So if there's anything negative that you believe about the home environment, or about, you know, if there was a certain belief that you've only been believing in because mom and dad and grandma and great grandma believed in it, well, it's time for you to really, really reassess that. Is it something that is really your calling? Is this something that you really do believe in? Or is it just something that you believe in because it's been told to you? So that's the kind of stuff that could be coming up in the next 4 months, because this is happening for the next 4 months. Jupiter's going to be going retrograde. Now, Jupiter has been going online. It's been going straight forward, expanding the home of Leo. You guys could have been moving, getting into bigger houses, expanding your family, adding people and family members. Your roots could have been expanded. You could be revisiting places that you were born if you were born, you know, far away. But now that Jupiter is kind of moving backwards, it's about reassessing what has happened before, where your roots. So this is a lot about going backwards to find out where your roots. Some of you could be really taking up an interest, or some of you could be really wanting to learn more about where it is that you came from. You know, Leos are very prideful. Leos are very, you know, you guys are the kings of the jungles. And when it comes to a king and a queen, you guys are a lot about tradition. You guys are a lot about, you know, carrying on the legacy of who was before you. You ever realize that the king and then the son is the prince and he becomes a king, and then, you know, that's how they used to do it back in monarchs, is that you were king and queen because of a bloodline. So Leo kind of has that little bit of energy in there where you guys take honor and pride when it comes to your family, because you're a Leo, because you're a lion, because you're the leader of the pack, you know, and your mom was the leader of the pack, or your dad was the leader of the pack. So you kind of, from young children, you guys have this essence about you that you really want to carry on a tradition, right? And I think that's because Leos are very, very strong and prideful people. You have a lot of pride when it comes to who you are, right? And who we are is what the ego really means. The ego is what we identify as. And, you know, Leo, you guys rule the ego, you rule the heart chakra. So this is all about getting back in touch with your heart, getting back in touch with where home is, where the heart is. You know, the love you have for your family, the love you have for your roots and parents. But Jupiter wants to know, you know, our beliefs are going to be challenged, Leo. We're going to experience certain doubts, okay? So, you know, you want to keep faith in your family, keep faith in your roots, keep faith in your foundation right now, because Leo, Jupiter going retrograde, it means that everything's in your hands. Everything that you believe in is up to you now. And Jupiter is going back into the past. Jupiter is back in the past now, wondering, you know, what happened to Leo, or what it is that we can learn from a higher knowledge about our emotional home. Okay, that's what I have here for you, is that you're going to be learning something deeper. You're going to be learning a lot more knowledge about your emotional home, and that's where you live emotionally, Leo. And you know, that has everything to do with the heart. So this transit is really important for you, Leo, because this is about home is where the heart is. What do you believe emotionally about yourself? What do you believe about your home? And if there's any doubts that you have, emotional doubts are very, very difficult, aren't they? Especially for, you know, I know you're a fire sign, so for you it could, you know, passion and emotion goes kind of hand in hand. So if you're starting to doubt anything emotionally, if you don't believe in something emotionally, you can't truly feel it. You know, Jupiter is ruled by Pisces as well. So this is about what we believe and what we feel. So for this to happen in your fourth house, I think your emotions are going to be what guides you, your roots, what you've learned so far. But see, that's why Jupiter is going back in time to reassess anything that may have grounded you in your beliefs. Because Leo, there could have been things years ago. You may have developed a belief that wasn't really true. And you know, you guys are all about authenticity, right? You guys are the house of authentic. You guys are about being your authentic self, following your heart. So, you know, Jupiter is going retrograde to kind of make sure Leo's doing that. Do you believe in your heart? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your roots? Do you believe in your authentic self, Leo? You are the North Node. Do you believe in your destiny? Are you on the path? Do you believe in where you're going? And you know, it's about continuing a path even though things got dark up ahead. When Jupiter goes retrograde, our beliefs are harder to tap into. They're harder to see and feel and trust because Jupiter is our planet of belief. And Jupiter helps us believe in things and see things, you know? So when it goes retrograde, that energy kind of pauses and it kind of depletes a little bit. So that's why we're being forced to look at things all on our own. It's like the teacher's gone and now we have to take this test on our own, right? So it's up to us now whether we're going to take this time to really use this energy to learn something that we couldn't learn before. When Jupiter goes retrograde, we're able, and only when Jupiter goes retrograde, it's like this energy to where we're able to see something from the past in a different way. We're able to see something from a higher standpoint. When Jupiter goes retrograde, we're able to see our pasts in a wise way. So there's this kind of higher knowledge for you, Leo, that Jupiter is asking you to learn about emotionally. And I think it has everything to do with where your heart is and where your home is and where your foundation is. So be careful of any doubts that come up over the next 4 months about that, Leo. Make sure that you're keeping the faith about the home that you have and about the home that you want, the home that you can envision, the home you've always believed in. Make sure you're keeping the faith in what you've always felt. You know, Leo, this is a time for you to really follow your emotional intuition because what you feel on a heart level and on an intuitive level is ultimately going to be what guides you down this path of Jupiter going retrograde in your fourth house of home. Like, you know, you guys could have certain energies that come back up, you know, of homes that you used to live in, you know, and if there's anything about that home that made you feel less than or made you feel even good, it doesn't really matter if it's good or bad. It just matters that it's authentic. It just matters that it's true. Jupiter wants things to be true. And it's interesting to say that because Jupiter is not a factual planet. Jupiter is more about what's true in here. Because what is a belief? A belief is true to us. I might believe in unicorns, right? Why? Because I believe unicorns are real. I believe unicorns are true. But then there could be someone else who does not believe that. No, unicorns aren't real. Well, that's your truth. So our truth is coming up here, right? Our beliefs are essentially what we consider true to ourselves. So that's what's coming up for you, Leo. And it has everything to do with your emotional foundation, with your emotional beliefs. This is a very interesting spot for Leo because all of a sudden, since Jupiter has gone retrograde, you're all of a sudden, you know, your emotions are gonna matter. Not that they don't matter any other time. I'm just saying that they're damn sure gonna matter now. What you feel is linked into what you believe right now because Jupiter is in Scorpio. So this could be emotional transformation for some of you. You know, you really want to think back to what you believed emotionally as a child. You want to think back to what you believed even years ago, 5-6 years ago. Jupiter is going to be going back there, looking through Leo's like energy. Like, okay, Leo, let's take a look at Leo's family. Let's take a look at where Leo came from. Let's take a look at the rooted beliefs is what I was trying to say. Rooted beliefs. Wow. I literally didn't even see that I wrote that. My mind just kind of came up with that, and then I looked right here and it was wrote right there. So I wrote down rooted beliefs. So Leo, you need to root yourself in what you truly believe now, because some of you, you know, you could have been experiencing, I don't know, Leo, you're the North Node, and I know you're all about what's real, but sometimes you can get caught up in the hype, you know. Sometimes, since you're so heart-ruled, that you can get around other people, and they can actually sway you. Isn't that crazy? Yes, I know that, Leo. I know that about you, that you can actually get swayed when it comes to matters of love. Temporarily, of course. You always bounce back, right? Because you're Leo. But, you know, if any of you have been dealing with gaslighting, or it doesn't even have to be anybody else's fault. Sometimes these things happen. So if you've derooted yourself, right? If you've led astray from the path or from what you truly believe in, well then, Leo, this transit is really going to help you root yourself back into what you truly believe. You want to make sure you're believing in yourself, because you are your roots. You know, the trunk of the tree is essentially the leaf. The leaf at the top of the tree and the very, very tip of a root, they are the same energy. And they create the whole tree together. Now, I know you're not an earth sign, but when it comes to roots, you know, I like to think of a tree. Like, is the tree the seed? Is the tree the leaf? Is the tree the trunk? Well, I think it's all of it. I think that this is a collective tree. So, what I'm trying to say to you, Leo, is that you are your roots. You are your own seeds, and you will someday grow from that. So what you plant now is what's going to grow over the next 4 months. So be careful not to plant any doubts. Don't plant or water any doubts right now, Leo. Not right now. We can use our doubts to kind of see things and from a higher perspective, but please don't feed into these doubts because they're coming up. It just, I'm sorry, Jupiter, but you know what happens. You know what happens, Jupiter, that when Jupiter goes retrograde, the opposite of believing is doubts. The opposite of believing is fears and insecurities and second guessing things. So, Leo, it's just time for you to look at where you live and look at your family and what's going on in the family life. What's going on with your roots. Make sure you're honoring that. Make sure that whatever you're doing or wherever you're at in life, that you are honoring where you came from and that you're honoring your roots and, oh my goodness, honoring your emotional foundation. So keep the faith about your home. For some of you, I want to briefly mention here that some of you could be realtors. That's coming up for me. It came up when I wrote your notes too. Some of you are really looking for a house right now. Some of you are really trying to transition into a bigger home for your family. You're trying to find a bigger home. You're trying to, maybe some of you are even trying to look at a smaller home for yourself. Whatever way it plays out, you can't find a house because Jupiter is retrograde in your fourth house. Well, it's just because where you're at is where you're meant to be right now. Jupiter's like, hey, Leo, I'm putting a halt on your home right now because I want you to stop and ground yourself. I want you to realize the little bit of roots that you've had throughout your life. There's something you can learn here, Leo. So just slow down a bit, just like me. This is Jupiter here. I'm slowing down. So I want you guys to slow down too so that you can learn something from a higher perspective, right? Learn something from this foundation. You can create a foundation. This is like your heart's foundation. You can create a foundation anywhere, Leo. You just have to stop and trust your foundation. But when Jupiter goes retrograde, our foundation, it kind of becomes clear. It's like I see a bridge that's kind of rickety, or a ladder that you don't trust because it might not be stable for you. Leo, you are a fixed sign. You are all about being stable and passionate. Leo has to be stable when it comes to their passionate endeavors in life. But just for now, over the next 4 months, you could learn a little bit. Jupiter is saying that you can learn a little bit by taking a chance, moving far away when you're not really sure if that's a good foundation for yourself. You may be doing something over the next 4 months that's emotionally risking. Or that maybe you're moving away from your family or you're moving away from your roots and Jupiter might stop or expand you to do so. It's going to be different for all of you. And this is just some of the things that are coming up, guys. And this is just what I think would happen when Jupiter retrogrades in the fourth house of home and family and emotional foundation. So I'm really led here to say that this is all about your rooted beliefs, Leo. This is all about your roots, where you came from. This is all about how you feel, all about being authentic, emotional wise and passionate wise. Keep the faith in your emotions right now. You are being blessed with an intuition to guide you through this transit, okay? So what you believe is what you feel right now, Leo. And I think right now it's very important that you are allowing your emotions, and that might not be something that you're used to because you're more so someone who's ambitious, right? And when you have ambition, sometimes you don't stop and think about, the consequence or thing. I'm seeing the Knight of Wands in my head right now. So, you're on a path, Leo. And instead of charging forward, Jupiter is just asking you to take a slower approach and to take baby steps because there's something that you don't want to miss during this transit because it's going to teach you a lesson. It's going to really, really, really make you guys wiser, especially when it comes to the heart and everything that we just talked about. So this is what I have for you, Leo, for Jupiter in the fourth house of home. If you guys have any questions, I have all my information below, so you can feel free to, message me, email me, whatever, because I would love to talk to you guys more. You also have Jupiter in your own natal chart too. We can look into that and stuff because this is going to affect everybody differently, okay? But that's what I have for you now, Leo, and I will talk to you guys in the March videos soon. Bye!